Good evening, everybody. I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. And we have the two beautiful ladies for the Juneteenth event that is being organized as we speak and will be a great event come Juneteenth. I'm so excited to be sharing this panel with these ladies. I'm so excited to be back on Next on the Mic. I have some great shows coming up. But tonight we're going to be talking about Juneteenth event. And we have some great organizers that's behind the scenes on this. And if you are watching, I hope that you share this video and definitely get the information about what's happening on June 19th and the great festivities. But before I start about these festivities, I would love to introduce the organizers, Christian and Akila. I would like you to introduce yourselves and tell us what organization you're part of and how you play a role in this event. So, Akila, I'm going to let you go first.
Okay. Hi, everyone. First, I'd like to thank you, Terilyn, for thinking of us and having us on your show. This is awesome. I appreciate all those who are watching, and I hope that you all can attend on Saturday, June 19th. We'll be hosting Juneteenth in Mullinex Park in Frederick, Maryland, and the kickoff will be starting at 12 p.m. I'm one of the organizers, and I'm from the organization Sons of Reawakening. Again, my name is Akila. If you see me there, please feel free to come up to me. Very friendly. Let's chat, and yes, hope to see you there. And next, Kristen.
Hi, I'm Kristen from Frederick United. Thank you, Terilyn, so much for having us on your show. I do want to apologize to everyone. I am at work, and that's why you see a little picture in sense of my live face. I am from Frederick United, and the part that we kind of play with this is helping to kind of spread the word, get people out there, helping in any way that we can, just basically letting everybody on the team just utilize us so that we can get this stuff done. And I look forward to seeing everybody next Saturday.
And so let me ask you a question, Akila. So you guys have been doing this event for how many years have you been doing the Juneteenth event?
We've been doing it for almost 5 years. We've had 3 in the past, and then the other ones were like pre-events working up to like our big show. But over the years, we have organized Juneteenth in the hopes that we can come together as a community and join alongside other organizations, which we were able to successfully do these past 2 Juneteenths. And this year, especially, we're working with awesome organizations out of Frederick that are interested and looking forward to bringing light to Juneteenth in Frederick and making it a staple event every year. So again, we're working with organizations like Frederick United. We're also working with Terilyn, Thrasher, Women Solve, Brothers Who Care, as well as I said Frederick United, right? Yes. And also the Elks Lodge in downtown Frederick has been great to us over the years. So again, we hope to see you guys there. And yes, I look forward to this Juneteenth.
So we have Mr. Malik that also joined us, and as I said before, before you guys have started this whole event, and you got, like you said, you've been doing it for 5 years, and you are part of Sons of Reawakening, and also Malik is part of Sons of Reawakening, and people that are watching probably do not know who Sons of Reawakening is. Could you give us some backstory of how you guys started, and how long you guys been in Frederick, being an organization, and what changes have you made in Frederick, and what you plan on doing in the future for Frederick?
Certainly, I will lead that to Malik. He is one of our founding organizers and our founders of the organization, so I will leave that to Malik.
Malik, you want to turn on your camera, or you're not able to? Oh, is he there? Okay.
Well, okay, so I will speak on behalf of our organization. Again, we're Sons of Reawakening. The organization was founded in 2013 by organizers Watu Mariama, Malik Adisa Jene, and two other men. Um, that is one is his name is Cecil Josiah, and Nadada is one of our other founding members. But we're a grassroots organization out of Frederick, Maryland. And over the years, I got introduced to the organization through my father, and also just the powerful work that they are doing in the community. They are very well known, just making sure that any needs that met the Black community are met and that they're represented. Lots of organizing at City Hall and meeting with the politicians and making sure that our stake in the community is being heard. Um, every year, a community coat drive. We have an African food marketplace that we do every year that make sure that African families are receiving healthy foods. We oftentimes and always advocate for the health of African people, and also just organizing around work that against police brutality. That's one of our main premises. We also go by the 10-point program initiated by the Black Panthers, and any work to progress the people is something that we do.
And so, Kirsten, you came into this fold with Frederick United. Frederick United has done some great work in Frederick. I'm so proud of you, Christian. Could you tell us how did you come into the fold, and about your organization and what you plan on doing in the next in the future?
Absolutely. We unfortunately our first event for this was actually linked. We had a teammate of ours release the graphic before I was able to talk to Akila, but luckily her and the rest of the team were totally on board once we reached out to them. Hey, let's connect for this Juneteenth event. With all due respect to them, they've been doing this for, as she said, the last 5 years. So I felt it would be really unjust for us to kind of come in and say, no, we're going to take it over this year. I really wanted to just work with that group and partner with them. And thus far, it's been amazing. It's been a lot of fun, all team meetings and everything.
Thank you for that. Now let's talk about the event. So the event is on June 19th, and where will it be located? Where is it going to be located? And tell us about the people that's going to be part of this event, because I know going to the meetings with you guys have a lot of entertainers, a lot of speakers. Is this event bigger than last year? Let's ask that question first. And and how is that affecting you if it is bigger? Or and if it's not, then we need to do more work. so go ahead. Is this event bigger than last year? And tell us about the people that are going to be part of this event.
Certainly, this event is much bigger than last year. Given that last year we weren't able to produce Juneteenth as a way of protecting the community due to the COVID virus that's still impacting us today. But that was also something that we wanted to just take a pause and just connect with the community in another way besides bringing everyone together. But we felt with the COVID lift these last couple of months that it probably would be okay for us to meet, but also in a safe, organized way where everyone still is wearing their mask and social distancing. But again, it's Saturday, June 19th in Mullinex Park in Frederick, Maryland. The significance of the park is it was the only Black park in Frederick. And so that every event that we try to have or that we try to have it in Mullinex Park. It has so much significance to us. A lot of the Black community call it Malcolm X Park. That's what I've grown knowing it as. But the park was bestowed to the Black community long ago, and it's something very important to the Frederick community. So we always like to gather and bring people to that park. But yes, I can share the mic with Kristen if you want to introduce like some of the festivities and the speakers that we'll have.
Okay, so unfortunately, I'm looking for that list right now, but I do know that we will have Hunger Free Zone, which that is a vegan food truck that will be there, offering free food to the community. So I'm actually really looking forward to that. Can you go ahead and start speaking on that while I pull it up, Kayla?
Oh yes. So what we're looking forward to having food trucks. We're having a vegan food truck there because that's also, like I said, very important to us, just to make sure the community is healthy and eating food that is nourishing to our bodies. But as far as speakers for the day, we will be having Dr. Raymond Winbush, out of Baltimore, Maryland. He is faculty at Morgan State University, and he has written books, and he's a world-renowned speaker and lecturer on the subject of reparations, something that is extremely important to our community, to our diaspora, given that the enslavement of African people was the startup capital for the entire world to have this accumulation of wealth that they have today. So the subject of reparations should be on each of our mind. Every day, something that we're working towards. So we're very excited to have Dr. Raymond Wimbush to speak to the community, give updates on where we're at. With that, we're also having Terilyn Thrasher, who will be speaking on her campaign and just introducing herself to the Frederick community and really getting to share her platform with the Frederick community, which I'm extremely excited about, having a Black woman on the ballot, and we all must go out and vote for her. We're also going to have a speaker named Rashad out of this organization, PACA, and they will be speaking about community control of the police, which is something, as we know, is very much a focus for the Black community, given what's happening to us in our communities and outside of our communities in relation to police and police murdering Black people. We're also going to be having a speaker from an organization, Ujima. His name is Namdi, and he's also out of Baltimore, Maryland, and he will be speaking about the Ujima Party and getting people to rally around his campaign and getting on the Maryland ballot as well. In addition, we'll have a copious amount of other speakers. We'll have an organization or a speaker from the indigenous community, the natives of this country, who will be speaking, because any struggle that's involving us is also, in terms of the United States, it's also involving the indigenous, and their voice must be heard, given that this is their land. And so, to go on from there, we're also having entertainers. We have spoken word artists. We'll have this artist by the name of Analysis. I'm very excited to hear from him. He's a very, very powerful with his words, and I'm really excited to hear from him. We also have a African dance group out of Forestville, as well as an African drumming group out of Forestville, Maryland, and it's by a world-renowned drummer named Baile. We're also going to be having an R&B group from Frederick's own Tyrone Burrell. He has sang all over the world. He is just a beautiful vocalist, and he has a R&B group that he has formed together called An Accord, and they will be performing. We have an awesome DJ. And in addition, we have tons of vendors, Black-owned vendors, who will be hitting the park and just blessing us with their beautiful makes and wares that they're going to bring. We have African clothing, we have games, we have food vendors with sweets and treats, we have a yoga vendor, anything that you can name. We have jewelry vendors, just tons of vendors, and they're all Black-owned. So if you're interested in Black business, please come, please support. And everything about this event is definitely about uplifting our people in our community.
So I'm glad.
And I don't know if you had mentioned.
Go ahead, Christian. Go ahead.
I was going to say, sorry, I don't know if you had mentioned, but we will also have a ton of activities for kids to do, which I'm really excited. My teammate has been working on this for a little bit, so I'm super excited for this coming weekend.
Well, I must say that I did order a dress, an African printed dress for this event, and I'm so excited about wearing it. So I have not worn it yet, so this will be my first event like wearing it. Now I know that. So let's get down to the topics, right? So I when I first came, I'm honored that I'm going to be part of this event. I am so overwhelmed and ecstatic. I'm still trying to grasp it all mentally of like what I will say, how it will go. I do this whole like meditation, fasting to make sure that I am, internally, externally prepared for this event. But your theme is imperialism, so let's get into that topic, right? So and you brought up police brutality numerous of times, and I think one your sons, your one of your the members of Sons of Awakens on there now. Is it Malik or is it Malik? And so, Malik, I hope that you would chime in on this conversation about imperialism and police brutality. I just have to say that in no shape or form, just because I work for the police department, that I am against what you guys are doing, because I think as a Black woman with a Black son and Black daughters, this affects my family also, right? So when it comes to me working for the police department, I'm not an officer. I work on the community side and making sure that our community people feel comfortable, right? And they have a voice. And so as much as we want to get rid of the police department, unfortunately, that's not a factor or an option. But I do know, being an advocate for people that are dying in the street like dogs and being left in the street to die like dogs is unacceptable also. And so having those discussions with my son and how he would drive and what he needs to do and keeping his driver's license in a safe place and all those type of things, and our Black women being killed and shot in the streets. I mean, when you think about imperialism, you think about all these nationalities have all these issues, right? Like all these nationalities have gone through these things. And but when you think, I know your dad Watu has discussed about what's happening in the Middle East and what's happening, in the Black community. I have to say that one nationality and one race that has been killed over centuries and decades has been the Black community, right? Hung from trees, shot in the streets, a whole city being burnt down, and all the Black people being killed in Tulsa. Like all those things. I think we are the center of imperialism and how we can advocate of how imperialism is so important. And so I struggle with that over and over again as a Black woman when I come to the table with all the other nationalities. When you come to the African and genocide and in Palestine with people being bombed in their homes and things like that and being left in the street dead. So how do we address this? So I hope I didn't say too much, but how do you guys come up with the theme imperialism?
Well, we came up with the theme because imperialism has had its grip around our neck for forever. With the rape of Africa and us being stolen and taken from our homeland and brought here to this day, and the whole reason why we are celebrating Juneteenth, but also working still towards our liberation, because even in a world where people don't see a world without police, there are places where people are not being policed as is here, where policing is within a class interest, where the police protect the class interest. So for our people, where we are being gunned down in the streets while other people who are not, you can see that there's a disparity there, and that there may not be a necessity for people to, there's no necessity for people to be murdered for the color of their skin. So that's something that needs to be dismantled, and something needs to be built where people are protected in the sense of being human, and that people don't need to be criminalized and just destroyed. But I say that to say imperialism back to Africa and all over the world, where where countries and empires have taken and destroyed land, resources. These computers that we're speaking on today are functioning because of Africa. These just the innovations, the people, so much has been stolen from Africa, given that we, the people, have been stripped from our land, and that we are totally in a faraway land, and the diaspora is so spread out. But that's for us here, just as in any place that we gather, whether it be Juneteenth or Sunday dinners with our family, there should always be topics of conversation to navigate our liberation and what we need to do to refocus and to get back to where we need to be, in insights of owning our own and controlling our destiny. And that's really what Sons of Reawakening is all about. When you see our logo, you see a sun and you see a Black man and a Black woman on there. And it's about liberation of, our name is SUNS, as in sons, the entire diaspora, the celestial sun. And it's just a focus on self-determination. As African people, we need to determine our destiny and determine what works for us, and just totally be stripped and shed this whole colonial rule that we have over us. And we really just need to own our power and reconnect with who we are.
And so, Christian, do you want to weigh in on that, or anybody else would like to weigh in on that?
Absolutely. I think, as Akila stated, it's so intertwined with so many other communities as well. It is not just a Black experience. It is something that has impacted, both the indigenous and everywhere. Anywhere that, the U.S. has kind of touched, we have taken so much from that group of people, and maybe we're not contributing as much as we should. And that's exactly what we saw what happened with Africa, where we had people coming in, just taking all of their natural resources, taking their men, women, and children, and then transporting them to an unknown area. And again, we have seen that across the board. It even happened when we touched here, taking so much from our indigenous brothers and sisters and not contributing anything to them. It was solely to take for the benefit of those people that came.
Right. And so so you had mentioned that Sons of Reawakening has underline of Black Panther. Is that correct? Is that what you were saying?
Well, given that the Black Panther, we use them as a blueprint in their 10-point program, and just the foundation of the Panthers, given that they've done so much that even this country has adopted their principles, even though they may not acknowledge that. But the free school, the free food program at school was initiated by the Black Panthers because they knew that kids could not be successful in school without having a healthy meal to eat prior to going to school. And so our focus is primarily on the family, on the community, and what we need to uplift each other, as the Panthers did as well, and are still doing.
Okay. I'm still learning about Sons of Reawakening, but I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and when I heard over the meetings, that Black Panther popped in my head. So I was just like, okay, this is definitely something that has, some comparisons, and why I'm so excited about being part of this event. Black Panther was also very political, and they definitely made political stamps in history, right? And so how are you guys going to, after Juneteenth, which you guys had numerous of years in the past, or you guys had other events, I want to see Sons of Reawakening, how will you guys move politically in our community and making sure that things are being done at a higher level than Frederick, right? Because that's a whole other topic that I would choose not to get on. But it's just but how will Sons of Reawakening making sure that their voices are heard in the political landscape outside of Frederick?
Great question. So just as the Black Panthers, anything in this life, everything is political. And that's the way that we navigate our organization. Everything is political. and everything is politics, because at the end of the day, there's people deciding the fate of you while you're not a part of the conversation. So in order to be a part of the conversation, we're constantly wanting to gain more membership, because when people see Sons of Reawakening, we want them to see themselves and want to get involved. Where anybody's struggle is our struggle, and that's really something that we stand on, and a statement that we really ride on, because if one of us aren't free, none of us are free. And so wherever we find struggle, we really align with that. And as Kristen stated, um, just with the statement of imperialism and our theme of imperialism, we don't stop at aligning with any organization. If they are suffering at the hands of this overarching colonial rule, they are a friend of ours, and that's someone that we stand with. So we join together with the fight for the liberation of Mumia Abu-Jamal. I'm sure a lot of you've heard of him. He that's a political stance that we are very much in deep with, and that we are calling for the immediate release of Mumia Abu-Jamal. He has been in prison for over 40 years. He's innocent, and he's in prison for a crime that he didn't commit. And he's currently in the Pennsylvania penitentiary, and he's very ill. COVID-19, along with other health issues, is keeping him in there right now. And we're calling for the immediate release. Also, other political things that are with us right now and have been are just the lack of monetary support for Black businesses, and also we went to we recently, a couple weeks ago, went to a event for the Move family. I know you mentioned Tulsa, but just 2 hours away from us, there was the commemoration of the bombing of the Move family, which killed adults and children, and that was all done by the Philadelphia police and their mayor at the time, who decided to drop a bomb on these children. And this is a very, very gentle people. These people, they think the world of everything, and everything is a part of life and an ecosystem, and they're completely peaceful people. But I say all that to say that politically, that's the charge that we take. That where our people are suffering, that's an alliance with us, and we're going to do what we need to do to liberate them and stand with them, and also with getting people in the positions that they need to be in to make decisions. So that's where we stand. We have a voice, and it must be heard. And all Black and brown people must call for the liberation.
Now, Christian, part of the owner of Frederick United, you definitely have been in different places. I've been with you in DC. You definitely have a huge, strong voice when it comes to advocating politically outside of Frederick. With the elections, both of you ladies, but especially Christian, with the elections coming up, with the mayor elections, and then all those elections coming up for county council and all, the aldermans and state positions. How are you going to leverage your voice in your organization to making sure that things are being done in Frederick on a state level and outside of Frederick? How are you going to be doing that? Moving past
we are going to continue. We're going to continue making sure that we are, at the seat of the table of a lot of these conversations, as well as holding everyone who currently does hold office accountable, as we have been, and ensuring that anybody going in after the election year, and once they get into their role, giving them some time to wiggle room and breathe, but making sure that they are doing everything that they have promised. I have read up on every last candidate for every last position there is open right now, and all of the promises that they made are something that we intend to hold them to. And it's funny that you mentioned the action out in DC, because we will actually be going back out to DC this year to do something very similar with the same group of mothers.
And those mothers, I don't know, Keely, have you heard what Christian does? Those mothers, their sons have been affected by gun violence and killed in the street by gun violence. And some of these women are actually Christian. Some of these women actually have worked with Baltimore Police Department in making sure they're held accountable. So I actually like know two of those women. And I'm like, oh, so that is definitely, they're definitely doing their job about that. And when it comes to that, so I do know that also when we talk about Juneteenth coming up, the crime rate has been increasing in Frederick, and there has been a lot of you know Black and brown issues coming up in Frederick. How is Sons of Reawakening addressing that?
In terms of the policing of Black and brown people, that is policing people, period, is not something that we are interested in, but we stand in alliance with the people who are being policed and representing them and making sure that they are safe. If they're and we really call for, we have a program in our organization called Know Your Rights, understanding that when you do have interactions with police, how to make it out alive. And that's something that, as a Black woman and a Black woman that's a part of a family, it's something that when you see those lights in your rearview mirror, it's not something that you can pass by lightly. It's something that sticks with you. And even talking about it now, I feel butterflies in my stomach. It's something that I'm sure not a lot of, which I have friends who are not Black and white friends that have experienced interactions with the police don't feel that. They don't feel nervous. They don't feel overcome with these things. So that's something that we align with because it's a shared experience. We want to represent our community and those being police, because we know why these communities are being policed, and we know the issues surrounding these people in their communities and what's going on. Why is it a necessity that police are coming to these communities? Why are there drugs in those communities, or what have you? And that's an overarching conversation that also has to do with imperialism, and it has to do a lot with capitalism, which is also something that we call to dismantle in the sense that all these things help for this beast to function. And so it's not so much of it's such a big issue that that we just really call for the protection of our people.
So and if you don't know, a Christian knows. Like I love the festivities. I love the talk. I love all those things. But I also care about making sure that everybody is where they need to be, and so that things can get done, right? And so you guys definitely put a fire under my butt when it comes to the whole imperialism part. But then you mentioned capitalism also. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because what I have in store coming up in December is going to you guys definitely want to tap into that and be part of that, because it's going to combine national and international together, right? And we're going to be discussing that with a bunch of international and national women together on the same panel, and that's going to be powerful. And they're going to be talking about issues that support, that talk about imperialism and capitalism. And so I would love for you guys to be part of that when we're in the midst of that. Christian, of course, you be part of that also. And so what do you guys want to see come out of this event? And what will be do you guys have a what do you call it? What do they call it, you guys? Like a action? It's not an action plan. It's like what do you call it, Christian? Call out. It's not. It's something. It's a word.
Call of action.
Yes, call of action. So
I couldn't be
will there
any
be a
more
call of
specific.
action for this Juneteenth event? Because that's what it's about, right? The Juneteenth event sets the platform, and then there's got to be a call of action. So what do you guys want? And I see Watu is actually in the waiting. He's an observer, and I seen him shaking his head when I said call of action. So maybe that's good. And so, so I might bring Watu on the screen. I love his energy and his shoes. So what will
Those shoes are fire.
Yes,
yeah,
fine.
so what will be the call of action and what do you guys want to come out of this Juneteenth event? Watu, you are live now. And Watu,
Oh,
you're on my platform.
yeah, I called in
He
just to
came
listen
on
at,
just
at,
on
at,
time.
at the program. But speaking of a call of action, I think when we talk about imperialism and capitalism, and according to that theoretician Karl Marx, capitalism is the high stage of imperialism, and that's
Mhm.
why that's why we see a lot of crisis occurring right now. These monopolies come together and they trying to figure out how they can control this crazy man Elon Musk and all those multi-billionaires. But anyway, we see this us being in this situation primarily because we don't have the power to determine our destinies of our communities, because we definitely wouldn't put up with, if we control the destinies of our communities would look far better than what they look right now. But somebody else controls it, and it's about power. And just like the Black Panthers, just like various organizations that evolved out of the civil rights movement, we have to continue striving to where we get power so we can determine uh, the destinies of our community. So,
So
if
what
there's anything, uh
go ahead.
I said if there's any one thing that we want to emphasize is that we have to get
Mhm,
organized for
mhm.
powers to be able to control, the destinies of our communities.
And so that goes back to the question of after what do you want to what do you want to besides giving us good food? What would you like to come out of this event, and what is your call of action? What will you hope to be a call of action after this event?
Well, I've heard I just heard a program that gave tribute to Juneteenth, and they called it a holiday, a festival. But we want to take these sacred days that identify us and are attributed to us. We want to take those days and not just hooping and hollering so much. We want people to come out there with a purpose, come out there knowing some of these struggles, like what recently was revealed through the Greenwood area. They called it Black Wall Street. That's a lot of history that a lot of people wasn't aware of. But knowing it, how's it? Then what's the next step? So we want to get in there and hopefully invigorate a lot of these young people rather than marching in the streets hollering Black Lives Matter. Uh, we want to go and be able to organize with a purpose in mind. And our purpose right now is to see state power, like you're doing. You're running for an office. That's a step towards it, because there are times in our struggle that engagement with the democratic forces are vital and necessary. And we see this as one of those times in our struggle. Um, so yeah, so I'll keep on talking about.
And I definitely think we need to get Frederick as a Black community. I've been saying that for a long time, and hopefully we can move toward that in the next years to come, because we do have a voice, and sometimes I have to tread that line, right? Like say and what not to say, so I don't offend anybody, because I am running for a political office. But I do, and I'm not from Frederick, so I do have to learn how Frederick, the Black community in Frederick moves, and also gain that trust and respect from the Black community. And because it's not about me, it's about them, right? You guys been here from day one, and I'm just a what they call an implant. So it's like, how can I advocate for the Black community of what they want instead of what I want? Because it's not about me. It's not what I want. And you guys are seen what has happened, what has unfolded, and what has been successful. So, but I also know that we need to do more. And I go to a lot of events and I see a lot of organizations and I see a lot of nationalities being supported, but I don't see the Black community being supported. And then it becomes down to, okay, how do I juggle this as saying I still gotta talk for my Black people, but I still want to support you too. Right. So it's like I still gotta, like they said, the liberation, right? So it's like in liberating our Black community and getting organized to making sure that we have a seat at the table and a voice at the table for Frederick. So how would I do that? And that is just tapping into people like yourselves and the other Black community, other people in the Black community, because you guys have been here. So I hope what I get out of it, and I hope what I want to get out of it is how I move forward in doing that and supporting that for Frederick.
And I wanted to share with you, Chairlyn, although we are natives of Frederick and that we were born here, we all are victims of colonialism, and wherever one of us is, that's a home to us, we're all family. So once you arrived in Frederick, that's your home too. Don't feel like, I just
Thank you.
community too. Your voice matters. You're part of the community. You live here. And I appreciate you wanting to hear the voice of the community, given that you are a part of the community.
Right. And so tell us about food. I like food. So tell everybody what type of food's going to be there. Because, say again, Christian.
I was going to say, I had a little something to chime in with that conversation before we moved on to the
Okay, go ahead, Christian. Say it. I want to hear it because I love hearing.
You talked about having like a plan of action there after the event. Of course, we want everybody to come and have a good time, enjoy the food, the music, and people speaking. However, every last one of our events, people have been able to say, we came, but we left learning something that we may not have learned before. And so that is our hope, I think, collectively with everybody on here and the team that's not, is that we want everybody to go ahead and leave learning something about imperialism and about capitalism, being just 2 out of a series of things that we're hoping that they are learning. And I'm excited for that piece. Also, a lot of our organizations, we are looking for people actively. I know Frederick United, we are definitely looking for people to help and join the team, as well as finding out ways to help. A lot of the stuff that we do, yes, it's in Frederick, but there's a whole behind the scenes thing that people don't see, where we're helping actively trying to get people who have been wrongfully convicted and are sitting in jail cells right now, working on getting them out. And that is a process and a half to do. So there's a time and place and spot for everybody. So that's just some of the stuff I wanted to mention.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, Kristen. And in addition to education and joining our organizations, we also want to just increase the cohesiveness of Black and Brown and just organizations working together for the common goal in Frederick, and uniting the organizations in the sense that, just like Juneteenth is not owned by Sons of Reawakening. It's owned by the diaspora and anybody who feels a deep connection with Juneteenth. So that's why we have also called for organizers just to come in and assist with it, because it's something that we want everyone to feel is a part of their fabric, of their being, that their ancestors have been through the most gruesome time in history, but we're here. We've made it. We've made it because our ancestors were resilient and fought back against enslavement, fought back against, Jim Crow, fought back against. We've only been two generations outside of that period. So we've have so much to go, and we want to people to realize that although we are free in a sense, a lot of we are not free as we should be. We are not liberated, and there's so much work that we must do to continue to fight for our liberation, so that my kids and my grandkids and their kids don't have to suffer at the hands of police brutality. They don't have to suffer the things that we are still today. Also with the food crisis and food deserts and just the political landscape that we're in. We must have a piece of the pie in the sense that we've created so much of the pie and we have no voice in it, which has to change. So that's something that we want to bring to Juneteenth. As my dad stated, it's not just this celebration or this jubilee. It is, because we're celebrating, but there's also work that needs to be done after. So that's what we're calling for. And we want people to, like he said, and like Kristen shared, we want people to be organized because there's work to be done.
And I agree with you. Just like, so I have to say, me being in this political landscape, it was a calling for me in my life. It's something that it's been in me since I was 16. And so when things have happened in Frederick, things recently has happened in Frederick to me personally that has made me see like there is work to be done. Right. I mean, with my son being called the N-word on a lacrosse field, to me being blackballed as a Black woman in real estate, trying to buy a home, to like all these things that are put in place for Black people to be oppressed. And then to know, like, what are we doing about this, right? Like, this is definitely a state level issues that need to be addressed. And we have to be organized. And so the universe always puts things in place. It is draining for me, but it puts things in place for me to know that there is work to be done. And it's definitely, I want to be part of the table to make sure that work is done for the Black community and for every minority, Black and brown community in Frederick, because it's not just the Black people that deal with that. It's the Latinx community. It's the Middle Eastern community, it's the Indian community, it's so many of those different nationalities. Watu has his finger up, so I'm gonna let him say. Go ahead, Watu. You can definitely.
Yes. I think that I want to just piggyback off of what Christian and Akila was saying. It's part of also what we want to do is to end this isolation. A lot of people sometimes are under the pressure that you're out in this little small town, nothing happens. Those things happen in the rest of the world. But when you live in a small town, matter of fact, it happens more in small towns than what it does in most major towns. So it's so in that isolation. So as a result of that, we know that the similarities between the struggles of a lot of other nationalities, Chicano, Mexicano, the Latinx, the Muslim community, the Palestinians. We've reached out to them because there's a commonality. When the revolt went down in Ferguson a few years ago, it was the Palestinian people who got on the cell phones and was instructing the people out in the streets what to do when the tear gas and those different propellants were shot in the crowd. They were telling them how to respond to this, how to react. So they recognize what they're undergoing over in their ancient homelands is the same thing that we've been accustomed to, unfortunately accustomed to happen to us in this country. And I want to say one thing real quick, Akila. I just got off the phone with Fred Hampton's wife, and she said, "Don't let it just be a one phone call." So she's waiting to hear from me.
Oh, you can't be giving out personal information on my platform. What's wrong?
Well, no, because she said another version. The other Judas and the Black Messiah is coming on regular HBO. She says.
Okay.
People that might, yeah.
So I definitely agree with you about the Palestinian and Muslim community. I went to their rally when they had in Frederick. It was a beautiful rally. And I was also called to the rally in Hagerstown for a young lady that's a Palestinian young lady. And she definitely invited me to the one in Hagerstown last weekend. So I definitely in support of organizing with the Palestinian and Muslim community in Frederick, because in my ignorance, I didn't even know we had that such a big a community until I went to the rally. And I was like, oh, like this community is huge, right? And we just overlook that community. And I have to say, Watu, I agree with you in some ways. I think we're very divided in Frederick when we should be very unified, but we still have a lot of divisions in a lot of ways. And And I wish I could say more of how I seen that, how I pictured this happening and why it's happening. But I would like to say that people want to see us divided. They want us to be divided, because if we're divided, we're weak. But if we come unified, we can make waves. I mean, we can actually change things. If we come together, the Latinx community, the Indian community, the Muslim community, the Asian community, we are all minorities in this community. We're 46% minority in this community. If we come together, we are powerful, because they want to see us divided. They want to see it, because that's how you manipulate things, and that's how you keep things at a pace where they want it, when it doesn't need to happen that way anymore. So
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. So I definitely hope to see everybody there at the Juneteenth event. I know I'm gonna have an empty belly and lots of money to shop and ready to get in there just, and enjoy the festivities. And then we're gonna come back to the table and get get to work and get organized and see what we can do for the Frederick community. If you guys have been so great, I want every one of you guys to say something and leave us with a closing of what you want people to know about Juneteenth event. And Christian, I'll let you go first.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Give a closing for people to know about the Juneteenth event.
I'm having trouble on my end hearing.
Okay, we'll come back to you, Christian. Akila, you would like to go?
Yes. So what we would like for everyone to walk away with and to know about the Juneteenth event, first, we want everyone to attend. We want everyone to come and bring your family, because it's a family event. Everything has been orchestrated for the benefit of the people, and most of all for the education and the advancement for us to move forward and organize. What we would like to bring to the table is having people there, but also having different organizations to work together, as you said, towards a common goal. And we would also like for people to be more, just allow Juneteenth to be a part of your fabric. Our people have been so colonized to the point that, when other holidays roll around, we're decked out in colors that don't belong to us. We would like to see everybody decked out in their red, black, and green, and really represent what is true to you and who you are, and just celebrate how far you've come, because a lot of us didn't make it. A lot of us fell at victims of so much thrown at us, but we have made it so far. So please come and celebrate, and also get ready to get organized and empowered. So thank you. I hope to see each of you there. I hope that you share the flyer that you see on social media. If you follow Terrellyn, please share it. Please join us. Please come, bring a friend, talk to people while you're there, and feel welcome. We look forward to seeing you. Daddy?
Huh?
You want to say something?
Oh, yes. Yeah. I too would like to extend this invitation to the listening audience and Frederick at large to come to Juneteenth, because Juneteenth, erroneously, the whole day that it represents, period that it represents, when we supposedly got our freedom. If you look back on what we accomplished, it's really hasn't resulted in us being free. I was listening to Fish Brown's radio show yesterday on Pacifica, and he was relating that a friend of his, just got out of prison after 50 years. This man served 50 years in prison. When they released him, he was out in one of these remote areas of the country. He got to there. They didn't give him any money. After 50 years, they gave him an airplane ticket home. He got in the airport, couldn't find his way around or nothing. And when he got home, he lived 3 months, and then he died. He had stage 4 cancer. They keeping our elders in prison. You know, I mean, we get treated, so you don't treat free people that way. That's what I want to say. So this event is about us seeing the travesties of this system and laying down, joining these various organizations. You don't have to join Sons of Reawakening. You can join the United. You can join. There's other organizations there, but be part of an organization that gets organized in the interest of our people. That's the main thing. That any organization that's working in the interest of our people, you need to be a part of. So I want to extend my thanks and to you, Carolyn, and for the people that are listening today. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I want Christian. You want to say something now?
Yeah, so of course, people are going to come out, enjoy the food, the music, and walk away learning something. But I also hope that what people can take away from this is a sense of community. There's not too many events that have gone on in the last 2 years where you see various different groups, organizations, and individuals coming together to put something on to bring the Frederick. So I think it's a beautiful thing to see. It's a beautiful thing to be a part of. And it's something that I hope continues past this. I know this has been a bond and a working relationship that I really have enjoyed with everybody that is a part of this project. And I hope that we continue to do things where we come together for the good of our community.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you. I am so grateful. And I just love everybody on this panel, and I love everybody in Frederick. Thank you for tuning in. Please share this video. Please come out on June 19th and enjoy all the festivities, because I know I will. So thank you so much. Have a great night. Bye.
Good night.